All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their win over the Commanders. This game was very low scoring pretty much the whole time. And then all of a sudden, it was back and forth. Um, I guess we'll go to the fourth quarter and discuss it because the Commanders were 10-point favorites in this game. The Cowboys obviously it's a lost season for them. They're not going to be going anywhere, but they at least showed you a little bit of fight. So going into the fourth quarter, all right, the score was 10-9. 10-9. And this is what the final score ended up being, as you see on the segment title here. Between the two teams, you had a combined 41 points. The Cowboys scored 24 and the Commanders scored 17. Like, what happened in this game? So actually, I didn't really catch the beginning of this game because I was playing football with my friends, and that kind of overlapped with the beginning of the 1 o'clock games, or the early slate of games. So this is how the first quarter went. You had Brandon Aubrey, who's been money this whole year. He had 2 missed field goals. One of them was blocked, and the other he just missed. So this is how the first quarter went. You had blocked field goal by the Commanders, missed field goal, and listen, Seibert, who they picked up, he's been great for them, was not good yesterday. So yeah, blocked field goal, missed field goal, and then a fumble, and then a punt. So that's how the first quarter went. Then you had 3 straight punts, an interception by Jaden Daniels, 2 punts, and then a field goal. So it was 3-3 at the half. Then the Commanders, it looked like this is where the game was going to go back into their favor. They were going to take over, win this game pretty handily. Because they went 10 plays, 60 yards down the field. Jane Daniels scores from 17 yards out, rushing touchdown, so that makes it 9-3. But then the Cowboys responded. They go 8 plays, 80 yards. Cooper Rush connects with Jalen Tolbert for a 6-yard touchdown. Cooper Rush actually has looked better these last 2 weeks. I wish he would have scored more than -2 points in the game against the Eagles, because then I would have been in a better position in one of my dynasty leagues. But again, not going to hold that against him. I shouldn't be starting Cooper Rush if I'm trying to compete for a playoff spot. Then you had 4 straight punts. So yeah, this is where it just got crazy. So fourth quarter, you had a punt by the Commanders. Cowboys tacked on a field goal. Aubrey kicks a 48-yarder. Then the Commanders end up fumbling. Jane Daniels, Bates, one of the tight ends, he ends up fumbling, gets recovered by Eric Hendricks. So then the Cowboys turn that into a touchdown. Cooper Rush to Schoonamaker. That makes it 22. That was a 22-yard touchdown. That made it 20-9. Then the Commanders score a touchdown. That was a Jane Daniels to Zach Ertz touchdown from 4 yards out. So it was 20-17. Then we had a field goal by Seibert, a 51-yarder. Hold on. I'm confused as to what happened here. I don't know if the app is not telling me the right thing here. But anyways, the Cowboys did go up 27. They were up 27-20. And then what ends up happening is, I don't know what the Cowboys are doing on this play. I really don't. But there's less than a minute left. And Jaden Daniels connects with Terry McLaurin. And I don't know what the Cowboys were doing on defense. They let Terry McLaurin go 86 yards for a touchdown. So that made it 27-26. And you thought, all right, it's going to be a tie game. It's going to go into overtime. Nope. Austin Seibert misses the extra point. So then the Commanders have to go for it. Well, they have to go for an onside kick. They end up not getting it, but the Cowboys end up returning it. And you're thinking, why are you doing that? They score a touchdown. Why are you doing that? Because now the Commanders have a chance to get the ball back and, pull off another Hail Mary. And Jane Daniels did get it to the end zone. It did get picked off, but shouldn't have done that. I know, obviously, you have a chance to score a touchdown on the onside kick, you're going to get it. That doesn't happen often, but I don't know why they decided to do that. So, Cowboys end up putting up 30 points in this game. Um, that's what ended up happening. So I forgot to mention Cavante Turpin returned a punt, um, or a kickoff return. So he muffed the kickoff, and then he ends up picking it up and taking it 99 yards, and that put them up 27-17 Dallas. Then Cyber kicked a field goal, and then Terry McLaurin, when the Commanders got the ball back, he ended up scoring that 86-yard touchdown. So that's the play that I missed in the game, because how CBS had it set up here on my phone was a little weird. That kind of threw me off. But yeah. So Turpin had a kick return in this game as well, and the Cowboys get the win. They improved to 4-7. Commanders dropped to 7-5. Look, the Commanders have exceeded expectations this year, but you look at some of the wins that they've had. They beat the Giants without a kicker. They won on a Hail Mary against the Bears. You take those two wins away, and they're 5-6. And these last few games, they've been one-score games. They've been in these games, but they've lost them. And these are the playoff teams. Well, not the Cowboys, but the Eagles and the Steelers. They should have wiped the floor with the Cowboys, and they just didn't. Yeah, and Jane Daniels had a couple of turnovers in the game as well. Yeah, it's not looking good right now for them. They got to figure things out, because otherwise, if they're not too careful, they could end up being on the outside looking in. Right? As things looked, it looked like, it looks like they're going to run away with this division. But no, then the Eagles got hot. The Eagles beat them, and they've lost 3 in a row, and now they're kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. And next week they got a Tennessee Titans team that's coming in, and they're coming off an upset win against the Texans, and Will Levis has been playing better. So, they got to be careful. They're still in a good position, but you got the Eagles coming up again, the Falcons, who are just, I don't know what to make of them. Then you're in New Orleans at one point, and they're playing better. So yeah, it's not looking easy. The end of the season here. So they got to get things right. And then as for Dallas, I mean, Micah Parsons, I saw the interview with Maria Taylor on the Sunday night pregame show. He was happy that they got the win. He's saying how he's still fighting, he's still trying. They still want to win games. So if the Cowboys end up, I think they win on Thursday. They should win on Thursday against the Giants. Maybe you could kind of salvage this season. And maybe you play well for your head coach, and maybe you give Mike McCarthy another chance, which I don't know how Cowboy fans are going to feel about that. But they're at least showing you that they have a pulse. By winning this game, they showed you they had a pulse. Because the week before that, the last 2 weeks, I mean, they were getting blown out by the Eagles and the Texans. Then you go on the road and you think, all right, they're going to get blown out here. No, they end up getting the win. You got to give them credit. Like I said, Cooper Rush had a good game. 247 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Rico Dowdle had 86 yards on the ground. CeeDee Lamb, 67 yards on the ground. The tight end, Schoonmaker, had 55 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Brooks, 1 reception for 41 yards. Cowboys defense forced turnovers. They had 4 sacks in the game. For Jaden Daniels, 25 of 38 for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had 74 yards rushing. Eckler had 22. McNichols had 22. Brian Robinson Jr., actually both running backs got injured. Eckler got a concussion on a kickoff. And Brian Robinson Jr. Also got banged up in this game as well. Terry McLaurin had a quiet day, but he had that big touchdown that kind of inflated his numbers. He had 5 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown. Noah Brown, 6 for 71. Zach Ertz, he's been productive for them this year. 6 for 38 and a touchdown. Washington's defense only 1 sack of Cooper Rush. John Bates, the tight end, had a fumble in this game. And Seibert, 0 for 2 on extra points and 2 for 3 on field goals. And he has been really good for them this year. And, if he doesn't have those misses, maybe we're having a different conversation. So, yeah, that was a tough loss for the Commanders. But that kind of balances out, some of the wins that they had early on this year, like the Hail Mary and, defeating the Giants with no kicker. So, but yeah, they're 7-5. You're still in a playoff spot. but not looking good right now. They were 7-2, so we'll see what happens. You know, they were 7-2. They're 7-5 now. You know, they got to get right. But yeah, we'll see the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and we will see the Commanders take on the Titans next week, who are playing better. You know, you look at some of these teams where, you know, their seasons are pretty much over, but they're still fighting. Cowboys, like I said, they showed you a pulse yesterday. The Titans, they showed you they had a pulse. Will Levis, like I said, has been playing better. They upset the Texans on the road. And then you look at the Giants, and they showed you nothing. And I really did not pay attention to that game. I saw that Baker Mayfield did the Tommy Cutlet celebration, and my family wasn't really happy about it just because, you know, you're kind of kicking a team while they're down. But listen, if the Giants were not a bad team, that wouldn't have happened. So we'll get into the Giants, though, this week because there's definitely going to be changes. There's definitely going to be changes. There were things that were said after the game by certain guys, and it looks like the Giants could be heading for a massive overhaul from the front office down again, and they're going to have to go through it again. And also, I mean, we got to get into the Jets too because, you know, there was some news that broke that, you know, maybe we don't see Aaron Rodgers play another game this year. We'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the week. It's going to be a short week. It's going to be a short week this week. We only got 3 shows. We got between today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Then we got Thanksgiving Thursday, Friday as well. There will be no show Thursday and Friday, but I'll be back the following Monday. So I just wanted to bring that up. But, yeah, there's definitely a lot to cover in a short week. But it was a crazy slate of games yesterday. Between this game, the Bears-Vikings game as well had a crazy ending. And also, to kind of transition, we also had the Panthers and the Chiefs, which ended up being had a crazy ending of their own as well. Maybe not as crazy as the Cowboys-Commanders, but still. The Chiefs ended up getting the win. We'll talk about it when we come back from our next break. So with that being said, stick around. And we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.